Welcome to the spark that lights the night. Nooka's here with vibes that fly so high.
Welcome, listeners, to another mind-bending episode of Nooka. Today we're diving headfirst into the cosmic abyss with a book that changed how millions view our universe. What if I told you that time itself had a beginning, that before the Big Bang, time simply didn't exist? Buckle up, because we're about to explore Stephen Hawking's groundbreaking masterpiece, A Brief History of Time. This isn't just any science book. It's a journey through the very fabric of reality, written by a man who defied all odds to become one of history's greatest minds.
Whoa, hold on a second. Are you saying time didn't always exist? That's crazy. How can we even wrap our heads around that?
Exactly. That's the beauty of Hawking's work. He takes these mind-boggling concepts and makes them, well, slightly less mind-boggling. But before we dive into the cosmic soup, let's talk about the man behind the book. Stephen Hawking's story is almost as fascinating as his theories.
Oh yeah, I've heard bits and pieces about him. Wasn't he in a wheelchair?
Yes, he was. Hawking's personal journey is nothing short of extraordinary. Imagine this. You're 21 years old, a brilliant student at Cambridge University, and suddenly you're diagnosed with ALS, a motor neuron disease. Doctors give you just 2 years to live.
2 years? That's devastating. How did he cope with that?
Well, that's the thing. Hawking didn't just cope, he thrived. He defied those odds and lived to the age of 76, all while revolutionizing our understanding of the universe. It's almost as if the universe itself conspired to keep him around long enough to unravel its secrets.
Wow, that's incredible. But how did he manage to do all that research and writing if he couldn't move?
That's where it gets really interesting. Hawking's physical limitations may have actually enhanced his ability to visualize complex concepts. Without the ability to scribble equations on a chalkboard or tinker with experimental apparatus, Hawking turned inward. He developed an extraordinary ability to construct elaborate mental models of the universe.
So you're saying his disability might have been a kind of superpower?
In a way, yes, it forced him to approach problems from a unique perspective. Hawking once said, "My disabilities have not been a significant handicap in my field, which is theoretical physics. Indeed, they have helped me in a way by shielding me from lecturing and administrative work that I would otherwise have been involved in."
That's amazing. It's like he turned a huge setback into an advantage. But still, how did he communicate his ideas?
Well, that's another fascinating part of his story. As his condition progressed, Hawking lost the ability to speak, but technology came to the rescue. He used a speech-generating device controlled by a single cheek muscle. Can you imagine formulating complex theories about black holes and the nature of time, and then communicating them through tiny facial movements?
Oh my God, that must have taken incredible patience and determination.
Absolutely, and that's what makes A Brief History of Time even more remarkable. Hawking's goal was to make these incredibly complex ideas accessible to everyone. He wanted to bridge the gap between cutting-edge physics and public understanding.
Yeah, but do I want? I mean, no offense, but a lot of people find physics pretty boring. How did he make it interesting?
Great question. Hawking had a knack for using vivid analogies and thought experiments to explain mind-bending concepts. For example, when talking about the Big Bang, he asks readers to imagine the entire universe compressed into a space smaller than a pinhead.
Smaller than a greenhead? The whole universe? That's... I can't even picture that.
Exactly. And that's the point. It challenges our everyday understanding of reality. Hawking takes us on a journey from that infinitesimal point to the vast cosmos we see today. He explains how space, time, and matter all burst into existence in that singular moment.
Okay, that does sound pretty cool. But why does it matter? I mean, the Big Bang happened billions of years ago, right?
But that's where it gets really exciting. Understanding the Big Bang isn't just about the past, it's about understanding the fundamental nature of our reality. It's about answering the biggest questions. Where did we come from? How does the universe work? And where is it all heading?
Whoa, when you put it like that, Yeah, it's kind of mind-blowing. But okay, so what about black holes? I've always found those fascinating.
Oh, you're in for a treat then. Black holes are like the rock stars of astrophysics, and Hawking was their biggest fan. In fact, some of his most groundbreaking work was on black holes.
Really, what did he discover?
Well, imagine a place where time itself stops. That's essentially what happens at the event horizon of a black hole. Hawking's work showed that black holes aren't just cosmic vacuum cleaners sucking in everything around them. They actually emit radiation.
Wait, what? I thought nothing could escape a black hole. How can they emit radiation?
That's the beauty of it. This radiation, now called Hawking radiation, is a result of quantum effects near the event horizon. It's mind-bending stuff. Essentially, particle-antiparticle pairs pop into existence at the edge of the black hole. Sometimes one particle falls in while the other escapes, appearing to come from the black hole itself.
Okay, my brain hurts a little, but that sounds incredible. Has anyone ever seen this radiation?
Unfortunately, no Hawking radiation is incredibly faint and would be nearly impossible to detect from Earth. But the theory has profound implications for our understanding of black holes and the nature of the universe.
So it's all theoretical? How do we know black holes even exist then?
That's where recent developments come in. In 2019, we got our first ever image of a black hole. The Event Horizon Telescope project captured an image of the supermassive black hole at the center of galaxy M87. It was a stunning confirmation of what Hawking and others had theorized decades earlier.
Oh, wow, I remember seeing that image. It was like a glowing donut in space, right?
Exactly. That donut is actually the accretion disk, superheated material swirling around the black hole before it's swallowed up. The dark center is the event horizon, the point of no return.
It's crazy to think that Hawking figured so much of this out without ever seeing a black hole. But I'm still wondering about this whole time thing you mentioned earlier. How can time not be absolute? Doesn't everyone experience time the same way?
Now we're getting into some really mind-bending territory. This is where Hawking builds on Einstein's work. You see, Einstein showed us that time is not a constant, unchanging background to the universe. It's flexible, and it can be warped by gravity and motion.
Flexible time? That sounds like science fiction.
It does, doesn't it? But it's very real. Let me give you an example. Imagine you have a twin. You hop on a spaceship and travel at nearly the speed of light for what seems to you like a year. When you return to Earth, you might find that decades have passed for your twin.
Wait, what? How is that possible?
This is what's known as time dilation. The faster you move, the slower time paces for you relative to someone who's stationary. It's not just theoretical either. We've measured this effect with extremely precise atomic clocks. Astronauts on the International Space Station actually age slightly slower than people on Earth.
It's great. That's incredible, but it's also kind of unsettling. If time isn't constant, how can we trust our perception of reality?
That's exactly the kind of question Hawking wanted people to grapple with. Our everyday experience is just a tiny slice of what's possible in the universe. When we start to understand concepts like time dilation, it opens up whole new ways of thinking about reality.
Okay, so if time isn't constant, does that mean we could travel through time, like in movies?
Well, in a sense, we're all time travelers, always moving forward in time. But traveling backwards? That's where things get really tricky. Hawking explored the theoretical possibility of time travel, using things called wormholes, hypothetical tunnels through spacetime.
Wormholes like in Interstellar?
Similar concept, yes. But here's the catch. While wormholes are possible according to Einstein's equations, keeping them open and stable would require exotic forms of matter with negative energy density. As far as we know, such matter doesn't exist in our universe.
Oh man, there go my dreams of going back and buying Bitcoin in 2010.
Laughs. I think we've all had that fantasy, but Hawking actually proposed something called the chronology protection conjecture, which suggests that the laws of physics somehow prevent time travel to the past to avoid paradoxes.
Paradoxes? Like the grandfather paradox?
Exactly, the classic example where you go back in time and prevent your own birth. Hawking argued that the universe seems to have safeguards against such logical impossibilities.
This is all so fascinating, but I have to ask, why does any of this matter to regular people? I mean, most of us aren't going to be traveling at the speed of light or falling into black holes anytime soon.
That's a great question, and it gets to the heart of why A Brief History of Time was so revolutionary. Hawking wasn't just writing for physicists, he was inviting everyone to ponder the nature of our reality. Understanding these concepts changes how we see our place in the universe.
I can see that. It's kind of humbling, isn't it? Realizing how vast and strange the universe is.
Absolutely. But it's also empowering. Hawking once said, "Remember to look up at the stars and not down at your feet. Try to make sense of what you see and wonder about what makes the universe exist. Be curious." He wanted to inspire that sense of wonder in everyone.
I love that quote. It really captures the spirit of exploration and curiosity. But I'm still wondering about something you mentioned earlier, the arrow of time. What exactly does that mean?
Ah, the arrow of time. This is one of the most fascinating concepts in the book. Essentially, it's about why we perceive time as moving in one direction from past to future. Why we remember the past but not the future.
Oh, I've never really thought about that. Is there a reason we can't remember the future?
Well, that's exactly what Hawking explores. He ties it to a fundamental principle in physics called entropy, essentially the tendency for things to become more disordered over time.
More disordered? What do you mean?
Think about it this way. If I drop an egg on the floor, it shatters. That's an increase in disorder or entropy. But you never see a broken egg spontaneously reassemble itself, right?
Right, of course not. That would be weird.
Exactly. That's the arrow of time at work. Processes that increase entropy are easy and happen spontaneously. Processes that decrease entropy require energy and effort. This is why we can't unscramble an egg or unmix cream from our coffee.
Oh, wow. I never realized that was connected to time itself. But wait, if everything is always getting more disordered, why doesn't the universe just turn into a good mess?
Another excellent question. This ties into the big picture of cosmic evolution. While locally things might become more disordered, the expansion of the universe itself creates new possibilities for order. It's a delicate balance that Hawking explores in depth.
This is all so mind-blowing. I feel like my brain is expanding just talking about this stuff. But I have to ask, with all these complex ideas, how did Hawking's book become so popular? Didn't he worry people wouldn't understand it?
That's the genius of Hawking's writing. He had this incredible ability to take these mind-bending concepts and make them accessible. He used analogies, thought experiments, and even humor to bridge the gap between cutting-edge physics and public understanding.
Really? Can you give an example?
Sure. When explaining the curvature of spacetime, Hawking compares it to the surface of a trampoline. Imagine placing a bowling ball in the center of a trampoline. It creates a depression, right? Now, if you roll a marble around the edge, it will spiral inward towards the bowling ball. That's similar to how massive objects curve space-time, affecting the paths of other objects.
Oh, that actually makes sense. I can picture that in my head.
Exactly, and that's what made A Brief History of Time so revolutionary. It opened up these complex ideas to millions of readers. The book has sold over 10 million copies and has been translated into dozens of languages.
Wow, that's incredible. It really changed how people think about science, huh?
Absolutely, it sparked a whole new genre of popular science books. Suddenly, complex physics concepts were being discussed, not just in universities, but in coffee shops and book clubs around the world.
That's amazing. But I'm curious, how has Hawking's work influenced current research? Are scientists still building on his ideas?
Oh, absolutely. Hawking's work continues to shape modern physics. His ideas about black holes, for instance, are central to ongoing research in quantum gravity, the holy grail of physics that seeks to unite quantum mechanics with Einstein's theory of general relativity.
Quantum gravity? That sounds complicated.
It is. It's one of the biggest unsolved problems in physics. But Hawking's work on black holes provided crucial insights. He showed that quantum effects become important near black holes, hinting at how we might eventually reconcile quantum mechanics with gravity.
This is all so fascinating. It really makes you look at the world differently, doesn't it?
Exactly, and that's the true legacy of A Brief History of Time. It changed public understanding of physics and inspired countless people to explore science. Hawking showed us that the universe is stranger and more wonderful than we ever imagined.
I feel like I need to go read this book now. But before we wrap up, I have to ask, what was Hawking's personal favorite part of his work?
That's a great question. Hawking often said that his work on black hole radiation was his most important contribution, but he also took great pride in making science accessible to the public. He once said, "My goal is simple. It is a complete understanding of the universe, why it is as it is, and why it exists at all."
That's quite a goal. Did he think we'd ever achieve it?
Hawking was optimistic. He believed that we might one day find a theory of everything that could explain all the fundamental laws of the universe, but he also said that even if we do, it would not be the end of science. It would be just the beginning.
Wow, what a way to look at it. It really makes you want to keep exploring and learning, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And that's the perfect note to end on. Hawking's work reminds us to stay curious, to keep asking questions, and to never stop wondering about the amazing universe we live in.
This has been incredible. I feel like my mind has been blown about a dozen times in the last half hour.
That's the power of great science communication, and we've only scratched the surface of what a brief history of time has to offer. There's so much more to explore.
I can't wait to dive deeper. Thanks for this amazing discussion.
It's been my pleasure. And to all our listeners out there, remember, look up at the stars, be curious, and never stop wondering about the mysteries of our universe. Until next time, this is Nooka, signing off.
Hey, before we wrap up, we've got a burning question. You mentioned earlier that Hawking's work is still influencing research today. Can you give us some specific examples of how his ideas are being applied or tested?
Absolutely. Hawking's work continues to be at the forefront of modern physics research. One of the most exciting areas is the study of Hawking radiation. While we can't directly observe it from black holes in space, scientists are working on creating artificial black hole analogs in laboratories.
Wait, what? Artificial black holes? How does that even work?
It's pretty ingenious, actually. Researchers use things like ultra-cold atoms or pulses of light to create systems that behave mathematically like black holes. In 2016, Jeff Steinhauer at the Technion Israel Institute of Technology claimed to have observed Hawking radiation in a sonic black hole made from ultra-cold atoms.
That's mind-blowing. So they're basically creating mini black holes in the lab?
Well, not quite black holes in the traditional sense, but systems that behave similarly in certain ways. It's a bit like studying waves in a bathtub to understand tsunamis. These experiments allow us to test Hawking's theories in controlled environments.
Wow, that's so cool. Are there any other areas where Hawking's work is being put to the test?
Definitely. Another major area is the search for gravitational waves. Hawking predicted that colliding black holes would produce these ripples in spacetime. In 2015, the LIGO experiment detected gravitational waves for the first time, confirming a key prediction of Einstein's theory of general relativity.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing about that. Wasn't it a really big deal?
It was huge. It opened up a whole new way of observing the universe. We can now listen to cosmic events like black hole mergers. This has profound implications for testing Hawking's theories about black holes and the nature of gravity.
That's incredible. It's like we're developing new senses to perceive the universe.
Exactly. And it doesn't stop there. Hawking's work on the early universe is also being tested through observations of the cosmic microwave background radiation, the afterglow of the Big Bang.
Oh, I've heard of that. Isn't it like the oldest light in the universe or something?
That's right. It's essentially a snapshot of the universe when it was only about 380,000 years old. Missions like the Planck satellite have mapped this radiation in incredible detail, allowing us to test theories about cosmic inflation, the period of rapid expansion right after the Big Bang that Hawking worked on.
So we're actually able to look back in time and see the beginning of the universe? That's wild.
It really is, and it's a perfect example of how theoretical work like Hawking's leads to real-world observations and experiments. His ideas continue to shape our understanding of the cosmos and drive new research.
This is all so fascinating, but I'm curious, were all of Hawking's theories proven, right? Or were there times when observations contradicted his ideas?
That's an excellent question. Science is all about testing ideas and being open to revision. While many of Hawking's predictions have been supported by evidence, there have been challenges and surprises along the way.
Oh, really? Can you give an example?
Sure. One of the most famous is what's known as the black hole information paradox. Hawking initially argued that information that falls into a black hole is lost forever. This caused a bit of a spur in the physics community because it seemed to violate a fundamental principle of quantum mechanics.
Information lost forever. What does that mean exactly?
Think of it this way. If you throw an encyclopedia into a black hole, Hawking initially thought that information, the specific arrangement of words and pages, would be gone for good, even if the black hole eventually evaporated through Hawking radiation.
Oh, I see. So it's not just about the physical book, but the information it contains?
Exactly. And this idea challenged the principle of quantum mechanics that information should always be preserved. It led to decades of debate and research.
So what happened? Was Hawking wrong?
Well, that's the interesting part. Hawking himself eventually changed his mind. In 2004, he proposed that information might actually be preserved in subtle correlations in the Hawking radiation emitted by black holes. It was a dramatic reversal that showcased Hawking's willingness to adapt his ideas in the face of new arguments and evidence.
Wow, that's really admirable. I guess even brilliant scientists can change their minds.
Absolutely. It's one of the hallmarks of great science, being willing to revise your ideas based on new evidence or better arguments. Hawking exemplified this throughout his career.
That's really inspiring. It makes science feel more human, you know? Not just a bunch of facts set in stone.
Exactly. Science is a dynamic, evolving process, and that's part of what made Hawking such an effective communicator. He didn't just present facts, he invited people into the process of scientific discovery.
Speaking of communication, I'm curious, how did Hawking's unique situation, with his disability and speech synthesizer, affect how he shared his ideas?
That's a fascinating aspect of Hawking's story. His physical limitations actually became a powerful part of his public persona. The image of this brilliant mind trapped in a failing body, communicating complex ideas through a speech synthesizer, captured the public imagination.
I can see that. It's pretty awe-inspiring when you think about it.
It really is. And Hawking was well aware of the impact. He once joked that his speech synthesizer was the best trademark he could have. It made his voice instantly recognizable.
That's pretty funny. He had a good sense of humor about it, huh?
Oh, absolutely. Hawking was known for his wit and love of wordplay. He often used humor to make complex ideas more accessible. For instance, when explaining the possibility of time travel to the past, he quipped, "I have experimental evidence that time travel is not possible. I have never received an invitation to a party given by time travelers."
It's laughing. Oh man, that's great. I love that he could be so playful with such mind-bending concepts.
Exactly. It was part of what made him such an effective science communicator. He could take these incredibly complex ideas and present them in ways that were not only understandable, but also engaging and even fun.
That's really cool. But I'm wondering, with all this talk about black holes and the beginning of the universe, did Hawking ever address, the big questions, like the meaning of life or the existence of God?
Now we're getting into some really profound territory. Hawking did indeed tackle these big philosophical questions, often in ways that stirred up controversy.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, Hawking was an atheist, and he wasn't shy about expressing his views. In A Brief History of Time, he famously wrote, "If we discover a complete theory, it would be the ultimate triumph of human reason, for then we should know the mind of God."
Whoa, that's a pretty bold statement. Did he really think science could answer all those big questions?
It's important to note that Hawking was using the mind of God as a metaphor for the ultimate laws of the universe. He later clarified that he didn't believe in a personal God. In his view, the universe could be explained entirely through the laws of physics, without the need for a divine creator.
I can see how that might ruffle some feathers. How did religious leaders react to his ideas?
As you might expect, it led to some heated debates. Some religious leaders criticized Hawking for overstepping the bounds of science into philosophy and theology. Others, interestingly, found ways to reconcile Hawking's ideas with their faith.
Really? How did they do that?
Well, some argued that understanding the laws of the universe doesn't negate the idea of a creator, but rather reveals the elegance of creation. Pope John Paul II, for instance, once said that the Big Bang Theory did not conflict with the idea of a divine creator, but actually required it.
Wow, that's a pretty nuanced view. It's fascinating how these scientific ideas intersect with people's beliefs and philosophies.
Absolutely, and that's part of what made A Brief History of Time so impactful. It wasn't just about physics, it touched on these deep existential questions that resonate with people from all walks of life.
Yeah, I can see why it became such a bestseller now. It's not just about equations and theories, it's about our place in the universe.
Exactly. Hawking had this incredible ability to connect the most abstract concepts in physics to questions about human existence and purpose. He once said, "Remember to look up at the stars and not down at your feet. Try to make sense of what you see and wonder about what makes the universe exist. Be curious."
That's beautiful. It really makes you want to go out and learn more about the universe.
That's the power of great science communication. It inspires curiosity and wonder. And that's really Hawking's lasting legacy, not just his groundbreaking theories, but the way he invited millions of people to share in the awe and mystery of the cosmos.
This has been such an incredible discussion. I feel like my brain has expanded just talking about all this. But I have to ask, what's next? Are there any big questions in physics that Hawking left unanswered?
Oh, absolutely. While Hawking made incredible contributions to our understanding of the universe, there are still many mysteries left to solve. One of the biggest is the quest for a theory of everything, a unified theory that would reconcile quantum mechanics with general relativity.
A theory of everything? That sounds, well, like everything. Is that even possible?
It's the holy grail of modern physics. Essentially, we have two incredibly successful theories: quantum mechanics, which describes the behavior of particles at the smallest scales, and general relativity, which describes gravity and the large-scale structure of the universe. The problem is, these theories don't play well together. They break down in extreme conditions, like the center of a black hole or the moment of the Big Bang.
Oh, I see. So we need a theory that works for both the very small and the very big.
Exactly. And finding this unified theory was one of Hawking's great unfulfilled ambitions. He worked on various approaches, including string theory, but a complete solution remains elusive.
So what are physicists doing now to try and solve this puzzle?
There are several approaches being pursued. String theory is still a major contender, proposing that all particles and forces are actually vibrations of tiny string-like objects. Another approach is loop quantum gravity, which attempts to apply the principles of quantum mechanics to space and time themselves.
Wow, that sounds incredibly complex. Do you think we'll ever figure it out?
It's hard to say. These are incredibly challenging problems at the very frontiers of human knowledge, but Hawking remained optimistic. He believed that we might one day achieve a theory of everything, although he also cautioned that it might not be in a form we expect.
What did he mean by that?
Well, Hawking suggested that the ultimate theory might be so abstract and mathematical that it would be difficult for human minds to fully grasp. He even speculated that artificial intelligence might play a role in discovering or understanding such a theory.
AI discovering the secrets of the universe? Now that's a sci-fi movie I'd watch.
Laughs. It does sound like science fiction, doesn't it? But that's the thing about cutting-edge physics. It often ventures into realms that seem like pure fantasy. Just think about how mind-bending ideas like curved spacetime or quantum entanglement must have seemed when they were first proposed.
That's true. I guess we should never underestimate what's possible. But all this talk about theories and the nature of the universe, it makes me wonder what practical applications could come from this kind of research.
That's an excellent question, and it's one that Hawking himself addressed. He was a strong advocate for basic scientific research, arguing that understanding the fundamental laws of the universe could lead to unforeseen technological breakthroughs.
Really? Like what?
Well, consider how Einstein's theory of relativity, which seemed like pure abstraction when it was first proposed, is now crucial for the accuracy of GPS systems, or how quantum mechanics, once thought to be purely theoretical, now underpins technologies like lasers and computer chips.
Oh, wow. I never realized those everyday technologies came from such complex theories.
Exactly. And who knows what technologies might emerge from our deepening understanding of black holes, quantum gravity, or the early universe. Hawking speculated about possibilities ranging from new energy sources to methods of interstellar travel.
Interstellar travel? Now that would be amazing.
It would indeed. But perhaps even more important than any specific technology is the way this kind of research expands our horizons and challenges us to think in new ways. As Hawking put it, science is not only a disciple of reason, but also one of romance and passion.
That's beautiful. It really puts a different spin on how we think about science.
Absolutely. And that's perhaps Hawking's greatest legacy, inspiring millions to look at the universe with wonder and curiosity, to ask big questions, and never stop seeking answers.
This has been such an incredible discussion. I feel like I've learned so much, and it's made me want to learn even more.
That's the power of great science communication, and it's what Hawking did so brilliantly. He showed us that the universe is stranger, more beautiful, and more awe-inspiring than we ever imagined. And he invited all of us to join in the grand adventure of exploring its mysteries.
Thank you so much for this amazing conversation. It's been mind-blowing in the best possible way.
It's been my pleasure, and to all our listeners out there, remember Hawking's words: look up at the stars and not down at your feet. Be curious. The universe is waiting to be explored, and who knows what wonders we might discover next. Until next time, this is Nooka, signing off.